themselves see through a window that they had no kind of control over making, that all of your experiences come to the forefront. Shape. I mean, sometimes we need these things to kind of step out, and I think that a lot of times, you know, when making an artwork, I think that it's an attempt to step out of that reality, when in actuality it's that space that you were talking about in between, that you're actually doing the work and stepping out, and then when you go back to make art, you're just recording that experience that you had. But sorry that I know I went off on a course, but we
that's perfect.
Talking about
I think that I constantly change my opinion on this, and I think it's also about, I think that paradox and kind of auto-negation are really important in a productive process. So I was trying to avoid a lot of the romantical aspect of the artist, but like for let's say the past 3 days, I'm just have a complete new view that will maybe change at the end of this discussion. But I'm thinking about this idea of new reality, about the way I see right now, where we are talking the way of the behavior of the artist is also to be able to accept any kind of obsession, open arms, which is quite tough. The best obsession and the worst, the gross, you have to accept them all, open arms, and do something about it. So it's a kind of it's really weird for me to say that, but it's a kind of a romantical aspect that I assume for the coming 5 minutes. Maybe I change my mind.
Yeah, that's the best. Well, that happens a lot, right? I think that, yeah. I was at a dinner the other night, and somebody at the table, I don't go to art dinners very much, but one of the people at the table was like, you know, artists are all full of bullshit. And the person that happened to be saying this was a lawyer. And I said, well, aren't you a lawyer? And he said, yeah, but that's my job. And I was like, oh, fascinating. Because to a certain degree, I mean, yeah, I mean, I recognize for myself that I can be working very, very hard towards something for, you know, a couple years, maybe longer, maybe have better experience, but then all of a sudden you can throw it away, all of it away immediately. And so I think that's, you know, it's kind of one of the beautiful things about art, and I think that it's kind of expected of us to a certain degree. And to flush it all down the tubes is also kind of a for anybody that's ever been able to throw away everything, if you've ever had that experience, it's a radical one. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, about what you just said, and yeah, I would love to have both your point of view on that. As there's several layers, so I will try to make a quick ellipse of the thing. The fact of being named artist and art, it's quite a pain actually. That's the first thing we are talking about this idea of blurring boundaries and unlearning and all these things. I'm not sure I wanted to be called an artist, or I have lots of doubts about artists and art in general. The thing is that the great thing that we have is, let's say, I have no other words, but let's say artists are supposed to have this blurred position to the world, which is extremely, it's the only people that could have this undefined position to the world that could allow us to do different kind of thing and to have different kind of point of view of what we are doing. So by naming them artists and naming that art, it just also killed the thing.
I never used to like to admit that I was an artist. particularly in those kind of situations where somebody is something and they say, well, what are you? And I say, well, I don't do anything. And,
I would always say I make things.
Yeah,
I make things.
I don't even say that. I just used to say I do nothing.
I do nothing.
And I think that's part of my occupation, is that I don't really do anything. And that allows me the freedom to do what I do.
Yeah.
And so that always kind of stopped the conversation right there. And
That's great tools.
And I found it very effective, because those kind of conversations go nowhere. And the idea of what an artist is you can't say what that is anyway. And it changes, like you say. And, you know, your idea of what you are as an artist one day is one thing, and then the next day it could be something else. So
yeah, the great aspect is to be on a, from my point of view, is to be on a surfing on slippery roads and try to sometimes didn't really know if I could arrive at this point where I hardly know what I'm doing exactly. I'll be really happy. For example, I have the position of my parents that I love. Let's say it was 1 year ago. I had this really intense week when I was making a firework the Monday in Abu Dhabi, and then traveling, doing something else in New York on some screen, and after that going to Miami to work with a little monkey. And each day I was talking with my mother, and at some point she was telling me, I really have no idea what you're doing. And I was thinking, wow,
neither do I.
That's great, that's perfect. That's the best I could expect.
no, I think that's a positive thing too, yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know what you're doing, but it's okay, just do it.
Just as long as the monkey was not hurt.
It was not hurt.
Okay, good. That's good. That's fine.
I mean, yeah, there's this link also of unlearning and being lost to just expand my thoughts. Basically, it could be understood also as a strategy, because let's say also to make an ellipse, that you can't really stop or define someone that don't know where he is or where he's going. You can't stop someone that don't know where he's going. So I guess the next step is to get completely lost. That could be an answer. I'm just thinking out loud, but it could be an answer.
No, I think you get lost all the time, yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that being an artist, there is some really, you were talking about a slippery road, and I do think that in constantly trying to disprove yourself, or constantly trying to unlearn things that you've learned, so that you're never kind of moving through for lack of better terms, a gesture comfortably, right? Because comfort is like comfort's proof that the devil exists. Yeah. It's like that thing that makes you stay stagnant, that you don't challenge yourself any longer. And I think that it can become a very slippery, emotional, psychological road. I think that, which just goes back to why I think everyone should take mushrooms to show that you're back in the real. But no, I think that that's. I wanted. Damn, just out of curiosity, how many times have you just thrown everything away? Cleared the studio.
You disappear for a year.
Disappear.
Many times. I would really have to, think how many times. I don't know if I could even, but many times. And also because I am extremely restless, and I live in many places, and I move all the time, and so that changes things, yeah. And I like that.
Yeah. No, I think it's, yeah.
So, it's just, I think it's part of the process, for me anyway, is that constant redoing, constant thinking new lives, yeah. Wanting to have new lives. Yeah. I'm running out of time to do them all, but